Hello, welcome to this edition of the SFG Top Performance Podcast. Mike King and I will take you through some grain and feed information. It's been maybe 3-4 weeks since we've done one. This grain market thing has been nothing but volatile. We went through a USDA report there a couple weeks ago that surprised most of us, showing we planted a couple million acres more corn and then 4 million acres less of beans. Now somehow I think that bean number will correct itself a little bit. The numbers were taken the 1st of June and bean planting wasn't finished everywhere. So undoubtedly that number will change. The corn number could be true. The more you get thinking about it, we had some excellent planting weather this spring in just about every place except the northern plains. And they don't plant a lot of corn anyway. So, when you get dry conditions and a little warmer weather early in the season, guys plant corn if they can. That's a given a lot of years. So we'll have to work through that. They did lower the corn yield 4 bushel. That wasn't near what the trade expected with the kind of weather and the crop ratings we've been having. So we'll see come August. Here in a couple weeks, they'll have another report, probably 3 weeks, and they'll have some actual farmer data to work with there, and be the first. Maybe I wouldn't call it true yield expectations, but it'll be a little better numbers possibly. Today, the forecast for next week is hot and dry. That's just all they want to talk about. Not a lot of rain chances. We're going to see temperatures in the mid-90s plus. So, the corn in most of our area looks decent. Even the areas that have missed rain earlier, the last couple of weeks they've gotten some rain. That includes my home area, and it looks better. But as we go into a week of weather like that, we're going to be seeing some tip back on the ears and pod abortion on the beans. And of course, you abort bean pods normally, right along, but when it's that hot, you're not going to throw new blooms. So we're going to have to hope for some better weather after this to rebloom. Some of the bean fields I've been in, they're really tillering out good, a lot of branches. The potential's there for a very good crop. Lately, we've been rallying back from our post-report lows. We're about at that 50% retracement, which would be a normal thing, and we're up against the resistance on the December contract, 555. It's popped through it during the trade the last couple days, but it hasn't closed above it. If we can do that, that puts us on the road to a possible $6 December corn bid, and that's what everybody's looking for, to get that local price back up in that 5.5, 560 range. And I think at that point we'd have a lot of sellers. So we'll see what goes here the next week. November beans, their resistance is up around 1438. If we can pop through that, we'd be on our way to $15 possibly. And that's where some of the so-called experts think we should be going to supply these new bean plants that are going to come online later this year and into this winter. The demand for beans is going to grow in this country. Old crop basis on corn has been holding in most areas. We saw just a little relaxation locally this week because a lot of corn started to move. I think as guys got their new crop pollinated, they felt more comfortable to release some of their old stocks. Some of them are still keeping a little bit there for what I call gambling stocks, in case this thing gets excited. We still got 7-8 weeks before we'll see any new crop corn, so those plants have got to run. Old crop bean basis has been slipping, and seems like if the board goes up 20, the terminals take 10. That's the same old, but there's evidently beans out there that are moving today. I think as we move into August, that's going to slow down quite a bit, and the basis will rebound. So if the board stays in a good position, there's still good money to be made. So to wrap up, I think we got local new crop corn bids are above $5 again. We'd slipped down pretty close to $4.50 after the report, so we've retraced back up there. 3 weeks ago, we were buying a little bit of new crop corn in that $5.50 range, so we still got to get back to that, or we hope we can at least. New crop beans, we're trading pretty close to $13.50 locally, and I think that's maybe not a magic number, but it's a number that bears a starting point. And if we can work off of that and get some beans, you haul them to town right off the combine and get $13.50 this fall, you don't have any handling charges. And sometimes those handling charges, we don't write a check for that, so they disappear. Time you put them in a bin and take them back out of the bin, and you got to make sure you catch enough carry to pay for that, but you don't really know what that costs you either, so be careful there. Last thing I'll say, there's still some old crop corn out in some bins. We're going to really heat up in the next week. Take a look at it. Get up on it, walk around, get that unseen crust, so to speak, broke up so you can get some air up through there. Might be a good idea to run some air on a couple of nights, get some fresh air up through that corn. We did see some blue eye mold the last day or two coming in off of some farm bins, and we want to avoid that. So Mike, why don't you bring us up to date on the cattle business and the feed business?
Okay, Mark, thank you for the update. So before I get into it, farmers are smiling. They're making so much money on cattle that they're dancing in the street, but I'm happy for them. So guy told me the other day he bought some 6-weight calves. He sold them 2 weeks ago, and his check was almost $2,800 a head. And based on what he had bought them for, he made close to $500 a head profit, and that was using $6 corn. So good for him and good for all of you. I know it's a little early, but start thinking about we're coming into different forages, and especially corn silage season before you know it. And a lot of you probably don't know that we can supply you with either a water-soluble silage inoculant or a dry product. And a lot of products out there have just the lactobacillus bacteria only. Ours carry that and the pediococcus. And the reason for the pediococcus is that's what causes your pH to drop right away exactly at chopping time when it's added. And that's important so we get good fermentation, so we don't lose quality silage, volume, no seepage or protein quality of the silage. So, and we are more than competitive as I've been talking to people, so give us a call on that. If you don't have an applicator, be it wet or dry, or you don't have a custom chopper and you want to use it, a lot of guys will just take the dry and put it on top of the load before they unload it, whether they're going into a bunker or a bag. And so it does work if you sprinkle it around the top. I've checked silages after that, and it does work. So that is an option. Last week, Brandon Bloomers, myself, attended Hubbard's annual Beef Focus meeting. So there was guys there from like 7 states. So it was interesting to see what's going on in their area in the crops and the cattle markets. But CattleFax guy was there, came and talked to us. And you talk about a bullish report, boy was it ever. And he had a lot of good reasons why, looking at the whole U.S. market and meat, imports, exports, and everything else. So when I make calls, I give you those reports on my email, and I'll be getting them to the rest of you as I see it. But call me if you have some more stuff you'd like to know on it. But he's basically saying that cow inventory is an all-time low, will continue to be much lower. Replacement heifers won't probably start like in Kansas and Oklahoma and other states till late 2024, 25. Cattle prices, he's saying in 2024 on market cattle will average $1.96 to $2 a pound, at least for all next year. And for a lot of different reasons I won't go into now. But he's saying that in 2024, he's saying the consumer's probably going to have to pay, when hamburger's not on sale, $8 a pound. So I was just did some figuring the other day when I was driving. If a guy's getting $20 an hour, he has to work 25 minutes out of every hour to pay for that 1 pound of hamburger if it's $8. So I asked some of my neighbors in town, I said, what if hamburger cost you $8 and it was a little bit less on sale? Are you going to buy it? Yep, we're going to eat beef. We're not going to quit buying it. So I found that interesting. So we've talked about creep before. Some guys started, some are just getting started. But guys, we got to get going on it. 6 to 1 feed conversion on creep. At today, that's $1.11, and you know calves are worth $3 a pound, so it's kind of a no-brainer, guys. Let's take the pressure off mama, and let's get the weight on the calves, because you know what they're worth. So give me a shout. It's starting to pick up a little bit. Let's talk about mineral needs before you get in the field for this fall and for the calves that you'll be weaning, and so we can get programs set up before you get busy. It'll be here before you think. So the other thing is, in August we're going to run a special for you guys before you get to the field. It'll probably be the last week of August, and you'll have 1 week where you can tell me what you need for protein tubs and stress tubs for weaning and calves. And we'll have a pretty good discount on the tubs. We'll have 1 week to order and pay for them or prepay. So talk to me about that. So we're going to try and help you there on that situation. So just continue to enjoy the markets, and rightly so. You're getting paid for your work because, yes, repairs are expensive also. But it looks like you're going to have at least 2 years where you're going to have opportunities to build some equity, and that's good. So we appreciate your business. We appreciate your phone calls. And it's always fun to talk to you about things. And so enjoy a little vacation. A bunch of guys are going next week that I go. So take some time with your family, and also before it gets too busy. And again, thank you for your business.
Thanks, Mike. Well, that wraps up this edition of SFG podcast. We look forward to seeing you again in a couple weeks. Thank you.